Folks, welcome back. We are here with the Pokey Prophet. He is going to prophesy to us today and give us all the answers to all of your collectibles investing. What's up, man?
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. I don't know if we're gonna go too deep into the future. You know, it kind of seems like the obvious play right now is just buy more Pokemon.
Dude, it feels like the future's here. I mean, this is the never-ending bull market, right?
It seems that way, honestly. You know, when I got into this, I feel like I watched a Rudy video and he was talking about how if he made 20% a year in Pokemon, that was a good year. And now we're having conversations where if you're making less than 100%, you're just a bad investor.
I wonder how many people in this hobby story starts with, I watched a Rudy video. I mean, that's me.
Yep.
Rudy, and then it was SM Pratt, and that kind of sealed the deal. I was ready to go, man. I was a believer.
I feel like it's probably a pretty high percentage, honestly. You know, Rudy showed up for me even before I got into Pokemon. I watched like a Lego video, I think, in probably 2018 or something. So he's been around. I mean, respect to Rudy.
Oh yeah, man, he's been around a long time. And I mean, I was trying to search back his older videos. I couldn't. He might have taken them down, some of them, but some of his old Q&As are really interesting to listen to because, like, you know, one of them was his I think it's like his girlfriend, fiance, I don't know if they're married, was asking him questions. And he, was asking about like what he does. And he's like, well, I get up at 2 a.m. and I drive a truck, and make deliveries. And then I get home and I try to work on this business. And, I basically have to do all this because I made some bad investments in 08 and now I'm paying for it or something. And it's like to go from that, 9-10 years ago to this, like worth $100+ million, I'm sure at this point, it's insane to see what's possible with cardboard. Insane.
Yeah. 100%. We're booming.
We booming, man. So, well, I know. So listen, guys, Pokey Prophet didn't even want to talk about it much, but I said we should bring it up. Let's at least start out with the One Piece combo and then we'll move past it. But dude, you were one of the people who called it the earliest, who hopped on making content about it and did it at a, high level. I mean, I'm sure there's other content creators out there that do One Piece. I don't know them, but especially in our world, like you've had one of the most successful One Piece channels, and you did extremely well with the investing. And obviously, there's always an element of luck involved when you talk about 5x gains and all this crazy stuff. But the fact of the matter that you saw the play and got in before it, I think that's just having a good sense of TCG and these hobbies. And so, what exactly drew you to it and made you make that move in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking a little bit about this off stream, but for me, it literally started one night. I was just watching YouTube videos. There was a box break, I think, of Royal Blood, which was the set that came out, like the most recent one. Channel had like 500 subs. I can't remember which channel it was. The video had like 10K views, and anyone who's in the YouTube space knows if you're getting a massive multiple of your sub count in terms of views, that's a very good video. Yeah. And I saw that happen probably like 10 times that week on YouTube. So at that point, I decided to start looking into some of the boxes. They're all really cheap, like $100. I think OP05 was maybe $150. Good sets like 09, PRB01, they were maybe $200, $300. The value that you could get out of a box, like top 10 value, probably like 5-6K, even more for some of these sets. The Gold Roger at the time was $4,000. So to me, if you can pull a $4,000 card out of a $200 box, seems like a good deal, right?
That is the one thing I love about One Piece is they have those god tier chases. I wish Pokemon would adopt something similar to that.
And my logic was, if you had a $4,000 card in a box in Pokemon, and then you had another $5,000 cards, how expensive would that box be?
Yeah.
Right. So to me, it seemed like a very low risk play. And the fact that these cards held value and no one was really paying attention to One Piece at the time, especially in the investing space, it seemed obviously a little bit riskier than Pokemon, but at the same time, it felt like there was a lot of upside there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, do you think the explosion of your one, if you guys don't know, his One Piece channel, Straw Hat Speculator, but Do you think your channel had anything to do with it?
Nah, I don't think so.
No,
I
you think it's
really
pretty
don't.
organic.
Like the the growth too last year was really interesting because I think up to October, I think I got up to maybe like 6 or 7 thousand subs, I want to say. So there was organic growth. And at the time, like a lot of the boxes still were moving,
Yeah,
right? Like OPO9 went from 180 to 240 or whatever. So it wasn't 100% growth, but everything was moving in the right direction. I'll say too, at the time, completely different audience from the Pokemon channel. And it was a lot of, I do the consults, the mentorship program. Most of the people I was working with were actually in Asia or Europe.
oh
Whereas, Pokemon, I don't know about your analytics, but for me, like the Pokemon channel, it's probably 80% North America between the
yeah,
US and Canada. So
yeah. And then it's
completely
like
different
some
audiences.
Europe, some Australia.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, so I'm trying. Were you at all aware of One Piece when it first came out?
I knew what One Piece was, but I never looked at the game. I know you got in really early with Romance Dawn, right?
I didn't even know what it was. Manager at my local card shop just kind of like gave me the nudge, like, "Hey, this is going to be serious, and you definitely want to get some of this." I'm like, "Dude, I've never even heard of this." He's like, "It's one of the biggest animes out there, and all this stuff, and huge IP." I'm just like, "Okay." And so I just started buying a case of every set. Um,
Mhm.
and we only made it to OP5. And this is back when I was just trying to like experiment with everything. I was even buying a little Magic. I bought some Yu-Gi-Oh, like when the Yu-Gi-Oh anniversary sets came out. So I was experimenting with like a lot of different things. I've since kind of came back to just Pokemon, but yeah, I mean, then OP5 came out and everything went crazy. And
Mhm.
all the boxes I had, like they kind of went through a similar boom, maybe not as crazy, but like they started shooting up like 3, 4, 5x, 10x on the Romance Dawn Blue Bottom and stuff, almost 10x. And so I'm just like, dude, I don't even know what I have here. And this feels like parabolic. I'm just going to take the profit. So I got out. And honestly, it was the right move for the time being because Paramount War, I mean, those shot up to like $400 or $500 before they dropped way back down and stayed
Mhm.
stagnant for years. And even some of those early ones like Kingdoms and Intrigue and things. And I felt like I made the right play. I'm like, okay, cool. I got in for anyone knew about it. Everyone caught on, got the bag. I'm good. And I didn't really hear much about it for like, I don't know, a year or more. And then man, this boom was just like it was a different level.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you made the right choice to get out when you did. Like I think Paramount War is maybe only $500 now, like recent
Right.
sales. So the fact that you probably used that money, put it into Pokemon, and have 2, 3 x'd since then, that's the thing that bugs me
The
too.
the blue bottom definitely hurts.
The blue bottom for sure, but outside of that, those earlier sets are terrible. So for sure, like if you could sell them for 3, 4, $500, great play. But the thing that bugs me is people always criticize you for selling. And it's like
Of course.
if you can make 3, 4x on your money, even and I'm probably one of the people on YouTube that likes to theory craft, I guess you could say, and try and optimize. Even if you make 3, 4x and you sell, it's probably not the best decision on some products, but you made great money, man. Like that at the end of the day, that's really all that matters.
Well, it's like we always talk about, it's like you show these games to anybody on Wall Street or anyone in any other kind of investing, they'll think you're lying. Like they'll just think you're straight up like, it's nonsense. But like in this hobby, it's almost like you said, if you don't make at least 100%, well, you did something wrong. Like you held that product
Mhm.
for 3 years and made 80%. Where at Wall Street, if you go into a financial advisor, hey, do you got any stocks, any mutual funds I can invest in and make 80% in the next 3 years? They would look at you and laugh. Like they'd
Yep.
laugh at you.
100%.
you know?
Mhm.
So when you say the last thing I want to say, we'll move on, but like when you say a good set for One Piece, say they're not good
Mhm.
sets. Is One Piece more like Pokemon or Magic? Is it like because playability? Is it because collectability? Like what makes it a good or bad set?
This is going to be different for different people. For me, I I look at One Piece as something that has collectible potential. So for me, I want there to be like really expensive, solid, desirable chase cards.
Yep.
So in Paramount War, Pillars of Strength, I mean the Ace manga, Ace is a fairly popular character from OPO2. Pillars of Strength, Soga King manga, Usopp, not really a popular character. It's not until we got to OPO5 where the Gear 5 manga Luffy and the Oda signature, those are probably two of the most desirable cards in the game. So a set like that, OP09, where there's tons of chase cards that people really want, that's to me what makes a really good set. And when you look at the market value of those top 5 to 10 cards, it's up there. Like I've said OP13 for context for people who don't understand One Piece. Think about, and obviously prices have changed a little bit over the past month and a half, but at the time, think about doubling the top 10 value in Evolving Skies, doubling the top 10 value in Team Up, combining those together, and then still having an extra $5,000 of value to need in a box to equal OP13. That's how
really
cracked some of these. Yes, at a time, that's what it was. Mm-hmm. And people don't believe that. Like, that is crazy, right? But there were multiple cards over 5K. The Luffy at one point, ungraded, I think was selling for like 13.
What are pull rates on something like that?
That's the one thing I hate about One Piece is the pull rate data is awful. Like, I don't think TCG Player releases data, so a lot of it's coming from subreddits or Facebook groups. Generally, outside of OP13, like the older sets, maybe one manga in 3 to 4 cases, which when you do the numbers, it's about 1 in like 1,100 to 1,200.
So that's like a Pokemon hit.
Exactly. That was the other thing that made me.
I mean, that's a gold, Pokemon hit in Mega.
Mm-hmm.
Or like a Reshi, maybe like a red Victini or something on that level.
Yep.
Wow. And our cards are worth like $500 and those are worth 5,000.
Mm-hmm. Some of them. Some of the mangas now are probably like $700 again. Like they're definitely getting cheaper, but that's kind of like the context I give anyone.
I get it.
If they don't believe in One Piece.
No, I get it. I mean, usually if someone explains something to me in numbers, it clicks because, when I look at One Piece, I have zero connection. Like I've opened it before on channel. Every character is just another cartoon character to me. Like it just does nothing for me. Right. Cause I have no nostalgia for it, but you just explaining it to me like that with the numbers, it makes perfect sense. Like, so the pull rates are similar to Pokemon top hits. They're worth 10x more. The boxes are cheaper. What are we doing here? I get it. Makes sense. And obviously the print runs are lower than Pokemon, which I mean, I think every TCG, maybe Magic's up there, but every TCG is lower than Pokemon. So there's less out there. It makes sense, dude. I get it. That's crazy. Well, that's awesome, dude. And so, I mean, that channel's still really successful. You got 2 successful YouTube channels. How's it feel?
I'll call them semi-successful, like it feels good for sure. I'm definitely not at NostalgiaNomics level 30, 40K. And I think, like the goal this year was 20K on both of the channels. I think I'd be happy at that point, right? But as you know, you have to be constantly putting out content in the YouTube game. So you can be happy with where you're at, but you just got to get up the next day and do more work, right? So
yeah. When did you eventually go full time with all this stuff?
This year.
This year?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Once we launched the mentorship program, I kind of figured like it was a good time to do it.
Love it, man. That's cool. So I guess we're going to the Pokemon market now. It's weird because I feel like the hardest thing now is finding plays. Whereas like, you go back 2-3 years in the market, it was just like littered with everything really cheap. It was just kind of like deciding which one you wanted. Now when you got more money, get the next thing. Right now I feel like it's just harder and harder to actually find things to put money into that you feel confident in, that you are at a good price point that you feel is a good entry. I feel like a lot of people, and I mean I've talked to people, and people have money on the sidelines right now, and it just seems like people are confused on what to buy right now.
I'm not sure if I'd necessarily fully agree with that.
Okay.
Like I know a lot of things are very expensive right now, but I know you went very heavy in Prismatic last year. I went very heavy in Prismatic.
Well, it made, again, at the time, that was an obvious play. Now, still a year left in print, $180 in ETB. It's less obvious.
But at the same time, I didn't really explain this well. The point is that there's always something new that makes sense, at least in my mind. Like over the past year, I feel like there hasn't been a period of time where something wasn't super obvious.
Yeah.
So last year, maybe it was like Prismatic PCTBs after the restock.
Yeah.
Then regular ETBs bundles after all those restocks, surging sparks in the vending machines when they're $200. Like that was kind of a no-brainer.
Yep.
You know, now like Charizard UPC is getting hit at Costco, $120, $130. People are grabbing them at, even now at like 150, 160, 170, whatever. Probably still a decent buy. I think too, Black Bolt being around like $85, $90 in ETB, to me, that seems like a pretty no-brainer play as well. Especially too, I've been tracking the supply of Black Bolt.
Oh, it's non-existent.
It's coming down very fast. Like people don't realize that ETB is selling probably at about 80% the level of prismatic right now on eBay. So it's only going to be like a month or two before those are like completely dried up and we start to see those push like 110, 120, 130.
So those you think are the best plays right now, you're thinking the Charizard UPC, Black Bolt, White Flare.
Those seem obvious.
Yeah. I mean, I think Surging Sparks, even where it's at right now, even the current level, I still think Surging Sparks is a great play.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. If you do search it, kind of get in the weeds a little bit, you can definitely scope out some plays. It's definitely getting harder, I would say, though. Would you agree with that?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Definitely getting harder. 100%.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's the only thing with the brand new stuff, right? What are your thoughts on the new print facility? Like, how do you think this is going to affect, especially the journey through, I guess, Ascended block, and then going forward? Like, how do you think it's going to affect that block? It's going to be in print for 2028, but now this new block starting with Perfect Order, this is going to be like in print till 2029. Like, are you reshaping anything that you're doing going forward from here with new stuff?
I haven't made any drastic changes yet. Like I'm definitely not the most educated person on this conversation. So I don't want to overreact, if that makes sense.
Well,
I really like Ascended.
Truly knows what's coming.
For sure. Yeah. Like there are people on the internet claiming to know more than they probably do, but it's something where I like having a bunch of older stuff right now. So I think probably, in terms of my Pokemon, maybe 60% or more is still Sword and Shield. So I feel pretty good in that aspect. But at the same time, I'm probably the only person on YouTube trying to have this conversation right now. Is like, is it worth it to move out of Sword and Shield into newer stuff? Because Austin too, right? Austin's been showing me some of this Kagger data. A lot of the newer stuff, if Smith, I think he's in your Patreon.
Oh yeah. I was thinking content creators.
He's been showing me data, and like it might make sense to move out of some of this like B tier older stuff into A tier newer stuff. Just based on like the numbers, right? So like it's a hard conversation to have and a difficult balance, because if they just print the ever living shit out of this newer stuff, then maybe that changes, and then the older, Sword and Shield era, Sun and Moon era actually outperforms. Yeah. So I'm not doing anything drastic right now, but I'm open to potentially changing my plan.
Dude, I have been racking my brain with that same thing, thinking about, selling some things off. Because one hand, I look back at like Sun and Moon and what happened with that, and what happened with all the absolute just terrible sets, Forbidden Light, right? And like, Guardians Rising, even base is now, I think, selling for 900 and something. So I'm seeing these sets and I'm like, is Vivid Darkness Battle Styles going to do that same thing? Should I be holding a little bit longer? Like, am I really going to get out before this massive run? But then part of me thinks like, maybe, those sets were just lower printed because Vivid and Darkness and Battle Styles have these massive prints and reprints. Maybe there is, a bad set can do really well, Dragon Majesty, if it's short enough printed. But if a set's bad and it's got a ton of product, I feel like it takes a lot longer to move. So I'm starting to think like, would it be better to get that money into something like a Surging Sparks or a Black Bolt, or like even these Palday and Fates booster bundle displays are looking lower, the Charizard UPCs. And I'm just like, is it worth it to have some of this B tier Sword and Shield stuff? Or even if you want to stay in Sword and Shield, that's fine. Should I double it down on Evolving, Fusion, Brilliant, some of these things? And so, I know what you mean. It's definitely a conversation that it's a legitimate conversation. Anyone like scoffing at that's crazy, I think.
The other thing too that I'll mention on this is, we had Dan from Catch 'em All Collectibles. He came and talked to my group, and we saw his numbers for the rip and ship last year. And to me, looking at the data, I kind of concluded that there's probably a threshold on pack price where the demand drops off like very
Absolutely.
drastically, right? So it's like factoring that into, even this might be a very hot take. Everyone talks about 151 being this insane set and doing incredibly well in the future. I mean, the booster bundles are up to like almost 150 now on TCG Player. I wouldn't be buying more 151 at this level. I wouldn't. I think there's better places to put your money. And I think even though that'll probably still be a very popular set in the future, looking at, Dan's numbers for a set like Crown Zenith, it makes me rethink how I look at 151 and
Well,
some of these
okay,
other sets.
hold on. Let's stop there. What do you mean by Dan's numbers? His sales numbers?
Yeah, for amount of packs sold.
Yeah, but he was showing you for the year.
Hmm.
So the only reason I would not look at that is because I have the same numbers, right? Like maybe not as big as Dan's, but dude, Crown Zenith packs were $5 earlier last year.
That's what I'm saying though. Like there's a
Yeah,
level
like, so
where,
I'm sure the sales data for Crown Zenith last year is ridiculous, but it's like 151 and these and Prismatic were never $5, right? So it's like they were always like $8, $7, $8, $9 a pack or whatever.
I'll ask you off stream like what your numbers look like, but the
Yeah,
point is like it was really front loaded. So a bunch of it was being sold for him like in January, February
same.
when the
Yeah,
packs were cheaper. But then as things got more expensive, there's a massive drop off. I don't know if that's the same for you.
it is, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel like price memory because a lot of people, you know how it is. Like the average person stays in this hobby at this point like 6 months to 18 months. And
Hmm.
so anyone that's like been ripping packs, they have that price memory of when a pack was $5 and now it's 10. So they start like, start dropping off. I'm not paying $10. That's a $5 pack. Whereas like when packs start out like Prismatic at 15, and then it drops down to like 8 or 9, then it comes back to like 12. No one ever stops ripping it because it's always kind of where people always decided it was worth. So there's no like price memory that kind of like deters people. So like that's the only thing that the data might be like hard to really quantify what it means, because if Prismatic would go to like $20-$25, then I guess we'll see. But like right now, it's selling way more than Crown Zenith did at the same price, is what I'm saying.
That's interesting. Yeah, I agree with you. Like there's a lot of factors that go into it. I think too, like even when you look at demand, I mean, have your streams, let me ask this, like have your streams been growing in terms of views? Like if you
Yeah,
looked at this time last year versus this year?
yeah, for sure. We used to be around like, the low hundreds, and then we were growing, growing, growing. And then like when you go through times of booms, they'll like really shoot up into like the 300-400 range. And
Hmm.
then now we've settled back down into like the mid 200 viewers, like live viewers. And so, yeah, I mean, I think over the last year, we've probably like doubled the amount of average viewers.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking like demand, like you said, price memory is definitely a thing too. I
Yeah.
still think though, like, 151 packs were $10 last year, maybe even
Yeah.
like $8, $9 at a point. Now they're pushing 20. So, is the demand still going to be there when they're $30, $40? That's the only thing
True.
that I'm starting to question.
True. Yeah. And now are you talking about just packs? Or are you talking about like just anything?
Just any, I look at it as like, in order for my products to go up in value, there needs to be attrition in the sealed supply. So
Yeah.
someone's got to be opening the packs, right? And I think just based on like where some of these other sets are right now, Black Bolt, White Flare. I mean, I'm sure there's other sets we could throw in there too. Even
Yeah.
like the Charizard UPCs, right? They're still very cheap. A lot of those are being opened. Like those are products I look at and go, could these double faster than 151 bundles getting to like $300 or something, right? So that's kind of how I'm thinking about it.
Honestly, like I think PSA is really helping out the Charizard UPC price because the fact that PSA now costs more and
Hmm.
their wait times are longer, it's kind of like depleting the market of those Charizard promos, even maybe the Oricorio promos a bit. So the prices of those are high, which is like keeping the price of the UPCs rising. People are like, oh, I could crack these and grade the cards and make money and sell the packs. And so it's like it's all kind of operating together, all working in our favor right now. Will that change
Hmm.
at some point? I'm sure, but like right now, it doesn't like there's any end in sight. And as long as the market stays thin, the sealed products are going to rise.
100%. Did you watch TCA Gaming's new video?
Yeah, Dan Dan sent me a text and told me to watch it, and yeah, I was surprised.
What are your thoughts on it?
Dude, I have been calling for that for years, but it's the same as my thoughts on Tag and AGS and even CGC. I don't know about like another company like grading.
Mhm.
I think booster box grading is going to be a thing in the future, and when they finally do that, man, it is going to explode sealed investments, especially minty ones. But I don't want to be the guinea pig and see how this new company operates and how the values are going to be and how much people are going to trust it. You know, I don't know. What are your thoughts? Like, I'm undecided on it. I want to sit back and wait and see and watch. Like, I'm okay not being first to market. If that way I don't have to be the guinea pig, I'll be like second to market. If I start seeing the sales ramp up and the confidence and the prices, then I'll send. But I want to let everyone else. It's almost like buying a brand new vehicle on like the first model year they're created. I'll wait till the second or third year of that model and make sure all the kinks are worked out, type thing.
Yeah. Or if you want a really good analogy, you're going to be the Burger King.
Right. That's how I've always operated. Like, I don't need the home runs. I'll take the doubles and triples. Right.
100%. Yeah. So I'm really excited about it. Now, I agree with you. I think a lot of it's going to depend on how well the company does and if people really buy into it.
Yeah.
But I think eventually it's going to get to the point where it is a thing and people accept it. And I actually, just in a vacuum, right? When you look at the idea of what it is, to me, it's a really good thing because a lot of the vintage boxes, and again, I'm not a huge vintage guy, but my understanding is people are very worried when they buy vintage. If it's a reseal, like there's lots of other issues going on there. So,
I mean, speaking of Rusty in general, I mean, I know he was cutting. I mean, I know he did it with his 1.5,
exactly.
his first edition box, but I think he started doing that with more vintage boxes. He'll cut it, verify it, and then he'll retape it with like those dated signatures, little stickers to make sure that he's selling something that's authentic. And so it's like, yeah, there's a way to actually CT scan and make sure it's real. I get it.
100%. And then you keep the seal intact, right? Which is super important, I'd say. So I'm very bullish on that long term. Now, again, like short term, is the company going to work out? Who knows? But I think eventually there'll be something very sustainable.
Agreed. Yeah, whether it's his company or not, it's gonna be a thing. People want that grade. Like, as much as people hate grading companies and say it's all arbitrary and all that, people want it. They want that third party authentication and number on it, and that tells them what they should value it at. It's just the way this hobby operates. People don't have to agree with it. It's just the way it is.
I know we touched on One Piece too, but there is application for One Piece and even other games in this aspect too, because a lot of the product is like mappable. So if you get a case, 12 boxes, if you pull a manga out of a case, the other boxes aren't going to have a manga, right? So if people kind of do what Rusty's doing, they send off a sealed case, and then those can be kind of labeled as like uncirculated boxes. Well, then people kind of know, right? Their box hasn't been touched, or it could potentially have a manga.
That's a huge deal. Yeah, I got a lot of crap from people when I opened SpongeBob on screen, and they were like, "Is this from a sealed case?" I'm like, No, I just bought like 6 boxes." They're like, "Oh no, you can't do that." What's funny is we pulled a 1 of 1 Doodle Bob, and so we pulled the card. But I guess I just got lucky. I ordered from a trusted source or whatever. They weren't mapping them, but that was the first time I had heard of that. Like in another TCG, I'm just like, "Oh man, sorry guys, I didn't realize. I hope we can still get something." But yeah, so if One Piece is that way, uncirculated, it's huge.
Do you still get because I think you probably got this when you're just starting out streaming, but do you still have people coming into your streams and saying like your packs are weighed or scanned or anything like that?
Every night, and that's why every time we pull something like an alt art or something big, I'll always like go from the weighed, CT scanned, metal detected packs that you should never buy online from any streamer because loose packs are all tampered with, just to like reinforce it so hard because all those people, whenever you're not hitting anything, all those people come out. Then when you hit stuff, they're gone. Radio silence. It's so goofy. It's just like anything else.
You want to take that super chat too, by the way?
Yeah. Let's go back to that. Abraham, I saw that, brother. What do you got, Abraham? He says Gen 10 till 2027 means we will get mega sets for 2.5 years till November 2027, or you think it'll be first quarter 2027 since base set releases March, February, if it's November 27 means cooldown is less likely.
2.5 years though. I mean, when did means we'll get mega sets for 2.5 years? When did mega come out? Late last year, right?
Yeah.
So 20.
So I'll say almost 2 years, I guess.
Yeah, 1.5 years.
I originally speculated that mega era would only be like 6 sets. I thought it would be like 4 mainline and 2 specialties. In my opinion, I think the anniversary set may be the last set.
That's what I was thinking too.
I think it'll be perfect.
Because that's going to come in October, right?
Yeah.
I think.
Or November. Yeah, I think it could be the last set. Maybe there's one more. Maybe I'm wrong. But here's the other thing. Why is it because I guess it just has happened a few times, but it's just like, why are we automatically thinking because it's a new gen, it has to slow down?
That's a good point. Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I know it's happened in the past, but it's like, it's funny, right? Here's the funny part. And this isn't Abraham. This is just like a lot of people online. When you say, all these past data, they'll say that doesn't guarantee future results, right? But then you'll say, well, then why is it that because Sun and Moon or Sword and Shield or Scarlet Violet slowed down when the new gen started, why does that guarantee it's going to slow down when this one starts?
Yep, 100%. Like, I think it's a bit disingenuous when people do that. Honestly.
Yeah, it's like pick one.
100%. Yeah, I think we could, keep going. Have you read some of the comments on like the Pokemon Instagram and YouTube video for the announcement?
No,
of Gen
I haven't
10?
done that.
It seems kind of mixed. Like some people, I think one of the top comments was like these starters look like fake Mon or something.
Oh.
So, I think they look fine, whatever.
I'll
at the same time, people are upset that it's going to be on Switch 2, which I think is stupid because Switch 1 came out like 9 years ago at this point.
Why are they upset about that?
8.5 years ago. I don't know, man. People complain about whatever, right? So I think it's kind of mixed, but I think it could be a really good game. And if it's a good game, then maybe that just fuels the TCG market even more.
Yeah, I will say Pokemon's had a really tough time getting people to really, come out with good reviews of their games. So, I mean, I think they really needed to put some effort into making some good games that everyone's going to kind of enjoy. I enjoy them, but I'm not like a deep, hardcore video game player. I think a lot of people that don't enjoy Pokemon games play a lot of like the kind of like the in-demand games, like the hardcore like gamer games, sit down and you're going to grind it out, like, the games that are winning the awards. And I don't think Pokemon's ever been that. Like, it's never been like, this graphic masterpiece, this, it's always just been Pokemon. And, it's like back when the Game Boy games were winning awards and stuff, there was way better graphics out there of other games. I think it's always been the case.
Yep. 100%.
And so I think it's a weird comparison, I guess.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'm really optimistic about it. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I'm excited to see what they cook up for Gen 10.
Yeah. So going back to going forward, like, perfect orders next, going forward, you're just gonna, what is your kind of your strategy with like new stuff? Have you been just buying it at release? Are you kind of like just letting it see what happens? Are you still buying like other stuff like we talked about that seem like better plays? Like, how are you handling the new sets that are coming out? Are you going to take positions?
I messed up really bad in 2024 by skipping Twilight when it was like $90 a box. I said this shit.
Everyone did, right?
I said this, that was terrible. So I didn't buy it. And 151, I didn't buy enough at release. I was one of those people that was like, okay, I'm gonna wait for a reprint. So now I look at these sets and I go, they're bad, but I should probably get a little bit. So maybe I'll buy a box, a perfect order, whatever. I don't think I'm gonna buy a case. And a case for me is like a big deal still, right? Yeah. So
it's so funny. That's how everyone I talk to feels. It's like, yeah, it's gonna be bad, but I still want to have some.
Yeah, I just bought a couple Phantasmal Flames booster bundles too, because they're still in stock on Walmart in Canada. So I'll get a little bit of exposure there. I still have a little bit of faith in Anon. Okay, I know Anon TCG, some people don't like him. He's calling for all these booster box reprints end of Q1. So I'm waiting and on. Like I'm sure they're coming, bro. So once those drop, like I'll buy all the boxes. But until then, like I'm looking at specialty sets too. You know, in all seriousness, I was still buying Prismatic maybe a month ago. I bought a little bit more Black Bolt because it's cheap, right? And it's a good set. So I'm loading up on that. But the booster boxes to me, most of them seem, I don't know, they just don't seem like appealing entry points right now.
Dude, Anand, dude, I came out with a video literally giving him his praises, right? But here's the thing. The dude, it's very obvious he wants, like he like personally wants like large scale reprints. He personally, because I mean, it seems, again, I don't know him. It seems like a large portion of his business is basically all dependent on getting product from distributors, selling at a margin. So it's always in his best interest for large scale reprints to come through distributors, him to make margins on it, right? Where he's not really, it doesn't sound like he's much of, worried about investing in new stuff. I guess it's a lot more business related, right? And always like product supply. But here's the thing. It's always like an opinion based off, like information that he has or like other things he sees. And the opinion's always going to be negative on prices. Always going to be prices come down. There's always going to be reprints. And it's like, when you say that enough times, it eventually like kind of like loses its sting. It's just like, let's say we do get to the end of Q1, which is 1 month away now, March 31st, and they don't come. Well, everyone will just forget that. And then you can kick the can down the road and say, well, now they're coming, they're getting pushed off. They're coming next quarter. And it's just like, eventually it's going to be right. Like eventually we are going to get reprints and restocks, but it's just like, what is the benefit of constantly throwing information out there when you don't have full information? And he may have higher contacts. He may hear from distributors. I'm not discrediting the guy at all. Like, he's running a great business, does big things. Awesome. But it's like, dude, the opinions have to always be on the side of like, these reprints are always coming. They're always big. They're going to devastate the market. Don't buy anything. And it's just like, I don't know. It just seems disingenuous when it's like, it's obvious that your whole business basically is built around you getting product and selling it. So obviously it's in your favor,
100%. This is going to be my last test with Anon because he's been very outspoken about this happening.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, I'll bite this one time, but like if they don't come Q1, like if you're gonna push the can down the road, like it's something where I'll just ignore it in the future. But I agree, like, and you've talked about this a lot to your credit. If you just bought one of everything, I think you made this video like a year ago, right? Where it's like if you bought one of everything, a year from now you're gonna be in a better place than if you waited. I think that's still gonna apply over the next year, right? Just buy one of everything.
Yep.
Even if we get big reprints of certain sets, other ones Pokemon won't be able to touch, you'll be fine.
Yeah, man. It's like I said, I hope the guy keeps doing good. Like I just wish it was like a little more like factual based instead of just like, a pinch of facts, a pinch of inside info, and then adding a lot of like your own, kind of what you want to happen or your own opinion based on something happening around the market. We could do the same thing. Like, we could say, because of X, Y, or Z, everything's gonna explode. There's gonna be no product on the shelves. You need to buy right now. And it's like, well, that's disingenuous too, right? Like you've got time. You don't have to buy everything right now. Everything's not going up overnight. Like, I don't know. I just don't like kind of like that parabolic content, I guess, the hyperbolic kind of content.
I think there's something to be said too about, and I understand why people want to remain anonymous on the internet. Like I get it 100%. I'll never bash someone for not wanting to like show their face. Makes perfect sense to me, but
especially these days, I applaud it.
Yep. 100%. At the same time though, if you're going to be anonymous and then claim that you have, insider information and then it doesn't always come to fruition, like you should be hitting with a very high level of consistency, right? If you have insider information, so that's something I feel like he doesn't get enough pushback on maybe.
How have you been handling all the other YouTube drama in the space?
Oh, dude, I'm trying hard to stay out of it. I got into it with Joey last year, and I'm not a fan of Joey at all. Like, I think, he made his video on me, fine, whatever, like get your views. But if you're going to turn like 40 hours of content about me talking about Prismatic and you're going to cut out like 1 or 2 sentences from a video, right? And then even on top of that, like you're gonna inflate the numbers. I said, like, that's to me ridiculous. So there are people that do things, and look, I've fucked up before too in the space, and I try and always apologize and own up when I make
Yes.
mistakes. But there are people that make mistakes or do things intentionally, and then they never apologize to you for it. Like, that's their whole shtick. So
Yeah.
great, but I'm never going to associate with people like that.
Someone asked me about this on stream when I was opening packs, and I'll answer the same way. Dude, I don't hate the guy, right? I understand what he's doing. You know, he's getting a lot of views. He's making good money on YouTube, using that to fund his collection, all that. Here's the issue I have with Team Rocket Joey, and I'm sure he's going to listen to this. He might even clip it and use it. That's fine.
Oh, he will.
Yeah, dude, here's my opinion on him. I think he made a bet. I literally think that he thought it was going to be just like 2021 to 2022. And he truly believed he was going to be right and be able to tell all of us how wrong we were. And to his credit, he could have been. Like, it's like putting money on red or black in roulette. We put it on black, he put it on red, and he thought it was going to crash. We said it wasn't. And it just so happened that we were right. We could have been wrong, but it's like, then it became really disingenuous when he transitioned to like, well, I'm just a character. But then when he's right on stuff, it's like, well, see, I told you on celebrations. I try to tell him I know what I'm talking about when it comes to investing. But then when he gets things wrong, it's, well, I'm just a character. It's like, dude.
And by the way, too, good call, Joey. Celebrations has done very well.
For
so,
sure.
You know,
like, you can't play both sides. You know, it's like, dude, either be the character and play that and be the troll, but then don't act like, oh, I'm also a good investor. But then you got all this stuff wrong. Well, that was the character of me. This is the investor me. It's just like, dude, look, just say you took a very high probability bet that it was going to be like last time and everything was going parabolic and you thought it was going to crash. And I get it. I understood that. Honestly, every time he would make a video, in my mind, I'm like, this is probably going to sting when he ends up being possibly right and he gets to come and like laugh in all our faces. And we both made bets. I think he made the wrong one. And you just come out and be like, yeah, I got it wrong. I'm sorry. It was I really thought it was going to crash, guys. Like that would be so much more like likable, but to like double down and like acting like, oh, well, I got this stuff right. So I'm a genius, but everything I got wrong was a character. That's just goofy. That's truly goofy.
I think that's a good perspective to take too, about it being like a bet, because I actually didn't think about it that way, but
honestly,
thinking about it now,
it was a good time for him to do that because it was kind of the same type of run up the way you saw into 2021. So he would have looked very good if it did pan out that way.
Well, that's the thing. It went against the grain too. You know, so many people were very bullish. So if it went the other way, I mean, his channel probably would have exploded.
You got to respect,
like probably up to 40, 50K views. So yeah, I don't think it's a bad bet.
Yeah, you got to respect it. It's just like after it didn't pan out, it's like, dude, just say you're wrong, move on. It's not a big deal. Everyone's wrong. Ben of Fitness Studio, super chat, man. Thank you. You both have a huge impact on my life. Your daily videos help me build $1 million sealed collection. Do me a solid and shill the Charizard UPC. I went deep. Look, we've already been shilling it, but we'll shill it some more. Guys, Charizard UPC, what, $200 by the end of the month tomorrow?
Yeah, I think I was going to say 250 by the end of next week. Why not?
Benefit,
I mean, those
studio,
promos,
that's amazing, by the way. $1 million collection.
And he's not trolling when he says that. I've seen what he has. He's being honest when he says it's $1 million.
Oh, dude, I mean, you do consult calls. I do consult calls. I've seen it. Like I've seen people's actual warehouses. I mean, other things I've seen their spreadsheets, and you could say, well, that could be fake. Maybe, but the numbers they're talking about, the businesses that these people run, the incomes they have, it's why I always talk about my videos and people hate hearing it. But guys, there's people in this hobby now that are investing like multiple 5 figures a month into Pokemon, who make, over 7 figures a year and truly believe in this hobby, truly believe in the data. And it's only growing. Like, it's like, I'm not getting less of these people reach out than I did before. I'm getting more consecutively reach out. And each one, it seems like, is bigger than the next. And they all dwarf my size. And people think like Alex is doing it big or you're doing it big. It's just like, they dwarf us. It's crazy.
100%. People would be shocked. Like part of this again goes back to like the content on YouTube being catered towards a specific audience, but people would be shocked who's actually in this space. And it's not just like, it's not that people just have tons of money coming in. That's one thing. The other thing too is like the very high level people in certain areas of life that are now invested in Pokemon, One Piece, other TCGs. Like it is 100% a real thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it is wild. And One Piece too. I know there's a lot of like high net worth individuals moving into One Piece, aren't there?
Yep.
Have you seen Chasing Cardboard?
I have. Yep.
Did you see that video where that guy like liquidated the
interviewed him.
entire sports collection and he said, "I'm throwing it all into One Piece"?
Yeah.
And by the way, if you go back to that
Mhm.
video, dude, ever since that video, if he really did that, he did extremely well.
He did. I interviewed him on my other channel. He's a really chill dude.
The guy who
Super
sold the
chill.
Chasing Cardboard?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And he threw it all into One Piece.
He's all in. Yep.
Good for him. Good for him. Dude, I love it.
Gerald bought like all the high-end slabs too. So he bought like the Gold Roger, the Shanks. Like I think he bought one of everything. And to his credit, like he views it as a collection that he doesn't want to sell. But I mean, he's probably already up like 200-300% or more.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah, crazy times. Crazy
I'll
times,
go back and find that interview and watch it. Pokemon Cores, top dogs. How's it going? Both keep up the quality content. Will do, man.
Thanks
you,
man.
For the super chat.
Appreciate
you. We got DJ Poke Center in the house. What's up, DJ? I thought there was another one. Maybe I got them all. But yeah, guys, we'll get to questions here in a little bit and bring the chat in. So I know I asked you a little bit about this before, but like, what now that you said you're full time in the hobby, what does kind of your business all entail these days? Like, what's your day to day, business like?
Most of it's still content and the spreadsheet. Like that really is top down funnel for me. I mean, the mentorship program now, a lot of that's like after I get videos out and stuff, working on getting people to come talk to us. If people have questions, I try and jump in there. And honestly, like everyone in there is super helpful. So I don't even need to answer questions. And I think they have group chats that go on as well sometimes. So that's really the next big thing I want to build out after that, is just trying to make it so people coming into the space who might have a lot of money and don't know where to start, they can have all the tools they need to basically get from point A to point B. That's really the goal of it.
Yeah, no, that's smart. Mm-hmm. So it's, man, so even you could say the mentorship or Patreon, I mean, all of that stuff's really content based. So basically, you've been able to build all this on content.
100%. Yeah, like that's the economy though now, right? Like every business has social media. I think anyone in general should have social media, and that's coming from someone who doesn't like using social media as like a personal account or whatever. Like I was really anti that. Like I didn't get a phone until I was 17, I think. Like I really put it off for a long time.
Same way.
But
I mean, not until I was 17, but same way with you. Same.
Yeah.
I'm not a social media guy.
You have to do it though now. Like you have to play the game. So, it's something I like doing, but at the same time, like when you get certain comments or, I've dealt with much worse things than that lately. Like you don't even want to get on the internet sometimes, if that makes sense.
Oh, for sure, man. Not only that, we talked about it before. It's like just like the content creators block, I guess, like writer's block. I mean, because how do I put this? The only comments that get to you, right, are the ones that you're like almost like self-conscious about yourself, right? Some people come in and trash me for being like a, investor, scalper, bad for the hobby. None, all that rolls off my shoulder. But when people say things like, Alex, all your content's been the same, it's all repetitive, I'm just like, damn, that's like one of the things I try to do each day is make sure it's not repetitive and like make sure it's different. And it's like, it's true. It's very, very hard to keep every day like original. And like, yeah, you can always like there's always something happening in the market, but it's like, I do always try to like keep it somewhat original or a new thought or like, something else happening, but it isn't always easy, man, to keep things, original, or at least like said in a different way to make people like think, or, to give something helpful, because a lot of this stuff is repetitive.
The thing too, is like when you try and branch out as well, if it does poorly, that's a signal to you to just not do it again. Right. So like I follow the XY era, Sun and Moon era. I do spreadsheet updates, and some people really appreciate that, which is great. But if I put like a flash fire booster box in a thumbnail, I know that video is going to get like 30% the views if I do like 151 stuff or Sword and Shield Era. Like if I put an Evolving Skies box, I know it's going to get like X amount of views, right? 3, 4, 5K. People just don't care about XY Era and Sun and Moon Era anymore. So you kind of have to, go where the views are, essentially. Go where the demand is, if that makes sense.
I remember I was having a conversation with Eli, Pokemart USA, about this, and I showed him Pokebeard's channel. And this is like not a shot at Pokebeard, but it was just, he probably knows the same thing. But you can see like let's just say all of his videos were getting 10K views, 10K, 10K, 10K. The day he got to the vintage, 4K, 5K. But to his credit, he kept putting it out every single week because he believed in doing that. And but it's so obvious. It's like, so as content creators, we see that because he saw that, and we have to think to ourselves, okay, well, if I put another video out about Modern that day, it's going to get 10K views because all my other ones do. Or do I want to stay true to what I want to put out and get half the views because the audience doesn't want it? And it's the same way. I've always tried to like step out and do different things, and then the audience rejects it, and I get no views, and I'm just like, well, what do I do here? Like, listen to these people that say I'm repetitive and make all this different stuff that gets no views and you just be less successful? Or do I keep putting out the content people want to see based on the views, the subscriber count, all that, and just have some people in the comments get mad at me and say that? It's like, obviously I'm going to take option B because it's better overall for what people want and what benefits me. But it's just like, if people truly wanted something different, they would vote with their views, their engagement. And so at the end of the day, what some people say in the comments, it isn't really true because the data tells us it's different.
Dude, it's the same thing with like clickbait thumbnails, or titles. Like I don't know what it is about the One Piece space, because I do basically the same workflow for both channels, same titles. Like I use ChatGPT. I'll have like a working title and be like, make this more clickable, that people are going to want to watch. It'll shoot me out 10. It's like, take this one. This is going to be the best one. I'll use that. For whatever reason on the One Piece page, people get so upset about like clickbait titles and thumbnails and stuff. And then I did a test. I literally made a video about One Piece Kegger data, and I put in the title One Piece Kegger data and the thumbnail One Piece Kegger data. 10 out of 10 video, right? And by the way, on YouTube, for anyone who's not aware, like 10 out of 10 is bad. You want your videos to be 1 out of 10. So it's like, you guys, you can't have it both ways. You're either going to be upset about it, but actually click on the videos when you get exactly what you're coming for, or we're just going to do the other thing. So I don't know.
I mean, it's just like,
there's no winning.
No. And, I made like you did, I made a conscious effort to like get away from the drama. But, it's funny because people think like, oh, blah, blah, blah. A lot of times the drama helps you out. Like it kills it. I mean, I can take you through my videos, and like any of the videos I have the worst like to dislike ratio. They all have the most subscriber growth, and most of them have the most amount of views. And so it's like the videos you make that get shared over all the drama channels, that get shared on the Reddits, people talk about you on Reddit and blow you up. Those are actually videos that perform the best and grow your channel the most, because, if every 10 people that they're coming there to hate you, maybe 1 out of 10 will listen and be like, I don't know, I kind of like what this guy's saying. And then they'll watch another video and be like, oh yeah, this guy's cool, I'll subscribe. And so it actually helps your channel out. But, there comes a time where you're just like, do I care about like the most intense growth, or do I just want to kind of get to more of a relaxing type audience? And that's kind of where I went with it. But I get the drama. It makes sense. It gets views, it gets engagement, it gets subscribers.
Yeah, I see the same thing. 100%. There was, going back to Joey too, there was a video last year, he clowned me for doing consults. And I think the day he put that video out, I had like 3 new bookings. So it was, it
always.
And I know some people say like any publicity is good publicity. I'm not sure I fully agree with that, but there's definitely something for having more eyes on what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, Redbeard leans into it with his notification and botting service. And I mean, whenever he has those channels come at him, make videos, he always gets the most signups in those days.
Yep, 100%.
So yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely like a line you can kind of walk, but it's just like, I don't know. I want to be like, at the end of the day, proud of what I put out. And I want to believe that it's helping people. And, I mean, you're the same way at this point. I'm sure you had tons of people reach out all the time telling you how much it's helped them and how much success they've seen in the hobby because of your videos. And like, I want that feeling over like just YouTube numbers growth than just kind of putting out like Kardashian type content just to get views. Like I'd rather be a little smaller and grow a little less and just have a lot more people that are helped by it.
Just life in general too. At this point, I try and, you know, if I'm not proud of what I'm doing, like I try and change if that can resonate with people. Like there's something at the end of the day about having to look yourself in the mirror and be proud of what you're doing. And I feel like there's a lot of people, especially in the Pokemon YouTube space that, and by the way, like, you know, you, Eli, other people, they've joked about like PokeNotify before. And I worked with PokeNotify, and in the beginning, like to me, it made sense. Like they had a good service, but it got to a point where I was like, okay, people don't need this, especially because there was better, cheaper options out there. I stopped working with them because, you know, even for me, it was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. So everyone can improve, I guess, if that makes sense. There's always things you could be doing better. And is the money really worth it at the end of the day? I think that's the question for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, you know, with PokeNotify, like I'm not like a fan of them, but like, hey, you don't have to be the lowest price. Like if you have a better service or, you know, whatever it is, you know, that you like them or whatever, you like their company, like I don't mind anyone supporting anything they believe in. Like, you know, I mean, I'm sponsored by Arizona TCG. I've been sponsored by them for a long time. I truly believe in their service. People will come back and be like, well, Alex, I could send this to Probstein. Okay, go do that. Like I used Probstein before. I've used other consignment services. They're not as good. Like, you know, you want to sacrifice a couple percentage points and deal with like, you know, unsure where your inventory's at or when you're getting paid or having to reach out and find your money. I'm like, I like the Arizona TCG system better. I like the guys better. It's like, you know, so like, you know, there's different, it doesn't always have to be the cheapest, but I think if it makes sense, you know.
I agree with you. It was more for me, like I got to a point where I just asked myself, like, do I really believe in this? And the answer I came back to was no. So
yeah. No, I get it.
And a lot of people, their answer is no, but they still keep promoting shit because money, right?
Money.
So, and it's good money too. You know, some of these people, brand deals, they're getting paid a decent amount of money. So livable wage almost.
Really?
Probably, yeah. 100%. I mean,
like you think like our size?
Your size, yes, for sure. Yeah. Like I know what I'm getting paid, and we can talk about it off air for like one ad slot. And maybe everyone else is just like incredibly undervaluing themselves. But someone like Pokebeer, I mean, he's a lot bigger, but even I'd be shocked. Like you or Pokeoz, I imagine, depending on where you live in the world, it could be a livable wage. Just that alone.
Speaking of Pokebeer, I remember he reached out to me early on, and he was already bigger, but like he was asking me about like how you go about getting sponsors. And I was like, dude, they reached out to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, he was like wanting me like to tell him like how to like approach sponsors. I'm like, dude, I've never approached anybody. I've just always haven't reached out to people. Have you ever like seeked out a sponsorship?
I have actually. I have one coming this year on the channel. It's not a huge sponsor, but it's actually for an insurance company. Oh. So their company in Canada.
Oh, like a Collectibles insurance?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So I was looking to get everything under one plan. And in Canada, it's such a grind to even find a company willing to do like the boxes. And especially I found a company that would do Pokemon, but they wouldn't do One Piece for whatever reason. So I finally found a company that would do all my stuff, and it was the easiest process ever. Like I sent them an email, they sent me the forms, gave me a quote. I was like, this is amazing. I found their CEO on Instagram, shot him a message. I was like, hey, let's work together. We chatted. We've signed something. So yeah, that's going to be coming later in the year. They're trying to get set up in the States first, and then we'll start promoting. But
interesting.
That's like the only one I've reached out because it made sense for me.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, you know, like, I don't know about you, like I'll get so many emails from like random stuff, like a table or a desk or, you know, like some random company in China that wants me to promote their stuff, and it doesn't really align. So
yeah, I took a chair deal once.
I saw that. By the way, a chair's fine. Like maybe that was a bad example, you know, like
no, I know what you're saying. I get the same stuff. That was like the one of the ones I took, but yeah, like Not a lot of other stuff other than like people that in like the actual community that are trying to like get their little brand start up for something. I would like, show their stuff or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I'm
I did
pretty,
Misprint. I
I
think you
would
did
say,
Misprint too, right?
oh yeah. Cause I've known Ava since like near the beginning. Like she did her first live stream on my channel, and we've kind of kept up with each other. But so yeah, I was going to support her no matter what she did. But yeah, man, I mean, you know how it is. Like, I mean, I probably say no to like 99% of the sponsors that reach out just because it doesn't make sense,
Yep, 100%.
Before we get into questions, I do want to ask you. So we talked a little earlier about like selling. How often are you selling or like, moving inventory into something different? Is it pretty often? Is there something that like you look for or see on the market, or is it like kind of like we were talking earlier about like, well, when you see these 300-400% gains, you don't feel bad about it and you take them? Have you been selling a lot in the last year or two, or what's kind of your strategy there?
So my old strategy was kind of like what you talked about for a while, where when you could double your money, basically sell half, keep half. I was doing that for
It's
a
a
long
goated
time.
strategy.
It works 100%. I'm now at the point, and maybe this is me getting greedy. My top sets, like think your Evolving Skies, your Fusion Strikes, your 151,
Yep.
a lot of that stuff, if I can get to maybe 3 or 4x, I'll sell like a third or a quarter and then keep the rest and then reevaluate maybe a little bit down the road. So I'm selling a lot less now than I have in the past. And I think for me, long term, that'll probably be a good thing. In terms of like a monthly or yearly basis, maybe like a couple $1,000s a month, if that, like just rotating out of older stuff. Like I just sold an OP12 case and 1 box of PRBO1. But before that, in Pokemon, I'm trying to remember the last time I sold something. Like it's been a long time. Maybe middle of last year, I moved a couple boxes.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I am. I mean, when we paid the house off, that was like the last time I really sold. Like, people in the comments, I love the comments about like, he runs a rip and ship. He sells all the time. He's always selling. I'm just like, dude, I
It's
literally
different.
buy for inventory. And even the boxes that I run on my box night, like those are all bought through collection buyouts, literally for inventory. As far as like my long-term holdings, I have not sold a thing since then. So it's been like over like, about a year now since I've even sold a thing. And even before that, it's been a couple of years. Like when I look at what's been happening, what has happened, it's hard to bring yourself to do it because you're just like, what am I going to do? I mean, do I know something I'm going to do with this money right now? Because if I leave it here, it's going to do better than cash.
Yep.
I mean, and then I talk to I have friends, now that, they're in stock market content, and I'm always talking to them about their plays, but like, dude, maybe I'm just crazy. Like I feel crazy. Like I'm very aware that this is insane to people. I feel safer in Pokemon. It's the dumbest thing to say. I get it. It's so stupid. I'm an idiot. I feel safer in sealed booster boxes than I do putting it in the stock market, as nuts as that sounds.
I actually don't even think it's that crazy when you think about like the macro of what's going on in society. Like, and again, I'm not the most educated person, but to me, listening to people who are much smarter than I am, AI is eventually going to replace probably 98% of jobs, realistically, right? Like, and that might be a couple decades from now. Who knows when it's going to happen? I think half the workforce could eventually be gone, like within a decade. Like, think about how many people have desk jobs, customer service. All of this stuff is very easily replaceable. What are people going to do when they're not working? Think about it. Like, I think a lot of people are just going to jump deeper into degeneracy. So you think about it, like seriously, think about
I know.
gambling. It's pure gambling. I mean, prostitution and like anything sex based is going to grow as well. Probably like drugs, right? Vaping, like all these things are just going to continue to grow. What are people going to do? Honestly, like there will be a group of people that are creative that'll go off and do their own thing. But there are so many people in life, gaming as well, that'll continue growing. A lot of people just have no purpose, and I don't even think they want to have purpose. So they're just going to fall
It's
into
sad.
things that give them quick dopamine.
Yeah, it's really sad, dude. You're right. And a lot of people are kind of like in bad situations, so they're going through the motions, just trying to get through each day. But yeah, even people who have like relatively like decent situations, it's just like they're drones, just kind of going through the motions every single day and like not really thinking about what they're like you said, purpose is, or what they're here for, or what they want to do, or what kind of difference they want to make. It's just like, I get up, I do this, I go to bed, I do it again. Yeah, it's scary. The AI thing doesn't. Here's the thing I always think about with AI or like universal basic income or any of that stuff. I always think about the fact that like, well, even in like pure socialism, right? There's always people that are higher. And so it's like, even if everyone's getting income, well, that means I'm getting income too. That means you're getting income too. It's like, then we also still have all this other wealth we've amassed on top of that income though. And so it's like, I feel like there's always going to be, even if people were given enough to basically get by or whatever, and everyone's able to get by because of like the mass wealth that's generated from AI, it's like, you're still going to be better off amassing wealth now. Like, I know Elon Musk made a comment of like, don't worry about saving for retirement. Everyone's going to have enough money or whatever on Joe Rogan's podcast. But what about the people who have excess of that? Aren't they still better off? Like, I would think so.
Right. It makes sense to you and me, but you got to think about it too. What percentage of people in the populace, right? If they're given an offer, hey, we're going to give you X amount of money. And it's going to be sufficient for you to never work. You're going to have actually a little bit left over too.
Yeah.
What percentage of those people are going to go, great, like I'm not going to work?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, and I think they've even done like little test runs in Finland or some other countries too. But something's going to have to change in the overall economy if AI does replace like a massive percentage of jobs. Like, it's inevitable. What are you going to do with half these people? So to me, like, if they have extra money, a lot of people are just going to spend it on things that give them short-term dopamine rushes. And I think Pokemon, or just gambling in general, any form, is going to be one of those things.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, it's just like, everything's in the moment. It's just like, I mean, I remember I had to be like maybe a year ago now, maybe a little more, but when crypto was really booming and XRP was flying high and Bitcoin, everything was moving. It's just like, you know, everyone was talking like that's the place to be, but like no one's talking about it right now. No one's saying buy crypto. It's like, why are we not saying buy crypto when it's 50% down? And it's like, at the same time, it's just like, everyone told me how stupid Pokemon was. And I'm looking at crypto over the last year and looking at all my Pokemon stuff over the last year. And I'm like, dude, some of this crypto stuff's going to really have to start motoring if it wants to catch me at this point. I think Pokemon's going to outperform it. It's just like, you know, you start realizing it's just like, you know, maybe I'm not as crazy as the world thinks I am putting in money into this stuff, because, you know, I don't know, in the last 10 years, there's been a lot of hiccups in the economy and stuff, and Pokemon's perform really well compared to pretty much any asset.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, you know, it's above my pay grade.
Yeah.
I can't add anything to this conversation that would make sense, right? It's Pokemon. So
it's Pokemon. I love it. That's it. That's all we need to say. It's Pokemon. Well, guys, what do you think? Want to take some questions, or like any topics you guys wanted to hit? Hit like question, like all caps question, and then leave your question after that so I can pick it out really easily. I do see one here from Spencer. Spencer said, part 1. Oh, we got part 1. Finally reached 6-figure revenue last year. Spencer, that's huge, man. Congrats. 25% margins, which is high in this business.
Yeah.
Want to push for full-time status, have roughly 40K investments. I don't need the capital to keep growing the business. About 8K invested in the 40K. Selling would give me a massive boost in working capital. No, I won't get a specific answer, but thoughts. Well, hold on. Let me go back. I feel
like you could.
I don't need the capital to keep growing my business.
I think maybe he's saying like he'd be able to grow at a faster rate if he sold the 40K. Yeah. That's how I'm reading it. But
I mean, if you are wanting to go full time, I would say don't have an investment right now. Like, that's what I did. If you want to know what I hear, Spencer, if you want to know what I did, I basically sold off a lot of stuff when I went full time. I had everything but Charizard. I had a first edition PSA 9 base set, first edition. I had every card but Charizard. I sold off all of that for a bunch of working capital. I sold off some XY boxes. I basically sold off a lot of stuff to get a large amount of capital so I could start churning and burning graded cards, buying collections, things like that, to make sure that I could, you know, and I didn't even replace my full-time income. It was just making enough income to make the bills while I worked up to possibly, you know, replacing it. But yeah, I mean, if you think you can get by and you're confident that everything's, going well, you got a little bit of a buffer zone. You think having those extra hours that you're not working at your other job, and this is going to be able to propel you to that next level and make up for most all the income, if not more. I like it, but I'm a risk taker. And so depends on what your situation's like. How old are you? How easy is it to recover if it doesn't go well? How easy is it to get back a job in your field if you had to go back and get another job doing that again? A lot of things take into account. Do you have a significant other? Do they have an income? Like, how dependent are you on your income? All those things need to be taken into account. But I think you can do it with the amount of capital you're saying and the margins you're seeing. It seems doable because, build it up to where you're working with, you got 105K, 40K sales. Like, imagine if you're working it up doing $250,000 sales and you're doing 25% margins. I don't know what you're making, but that seems like a living.
I wonder, is the money he's talking about being invested, is that in Pokemon? Does he say in part 1?
Well, it says I have 40K in investments and then about 8K invested in the 40K.
It's like, I'll say
so he's 32K up already.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind taking some of those profits and rolling in my business.
Yeah, I think in a vacuum too. Alex brings up a ton of good points. Like, depending on your age, do you have a significant other? Like, your job, how hard would it be to get another job too? Like, those are all very relevant points. I think in a vacuum though, if you're trying to grow your business, it would probably make sense for you to have more money to roll into it. But again, like that's in a vacuum. So consider everything.
Yeah. Yeah, guys. I mean, look, I don't want to almost over glorify, like, this is a business. Like, it's a lot of work. Like, I work significantly more now than I have with any of my other jobs in the past, like significantly more hours. And also, your situation, like we're talking about, really matters. Like, my situation was different. Our bills were low enough where my wife's job could cover the bills. And so it's like, if I failed and it didn't work out, I was still making some money, but it didn't work out. It's like, okay, we're just a little further behind in our plans, go back to work, get back on the plan, start investing again. But if it's a thing where it's like, you need to make a certain amount to be able to eat, and if you don't make this amount to eat and then a bear market comes, I wouldn't want you to be in that position either. So I think you can do it with the sales you're doing now. I think you can do it if your situation's right.
Yeah, I agree. There are a couple super chats too, if you want to take those.
All right, let's scroll down to them. Pack Hype Collective, appreciate you. How long did it take for you guys to start getting a decent amount of views, and how many videos a week do you suggest creating? Took me a while. It took me like, I don't know, 6 months to a year to really start seeing some growth. But nowadays I see people growing a lot faster in Pokemon because it's so hot. So I think you could do it quick now if you got good content and you're putting it out. I don't do it myself. It's kind of like practice don't do what I do what I say type thing. Play the shorts game, play the TikTok game, the Instagram reels, get your face and your voice out there as many places as you can. It's all just compounding effects. But yeah, if you take it serious, I think you could probably get moving in 3 to 6 months, easy, even less.
I think it depends on what they deem as a decent amount of views.
Yeah.
Too. That's important. But my recommendations, how many videos to do in a week. I think when you're starting out
on this, because you put out a lot of videos.
It's interesting. So Felix, what's his name? Phillips Collectibles.
Yeah.
He's got almost 100,000 subs now. He started about the same time I did. Right. Yeah. And he's putting out maybe a video every 3 days or something. So there's an argument to be made to make less videos and make them much better, right? And put more effort into the thumbnails and stuff. For me, it's a numbers game. I just pump out content every single day. Workflow is basically the same. You'll see thumbnails. It's basically just different booster boxes and cards in them, but the red bar at the top's the same, just changing the text. You can either go the route.
Philip's a bit of a bad example because he is really good editor. So his videos are out. I would say they're a step. I'm not trying to like put you down, but I think they're a step above either one of
You're
ours.
right.
They're like
They are.
he's really good with all the editing and stuff. So like I would say if you're a good editor, you could probably grow that fast. But it's like to do like
But I
content
think
on our level
that
probably is slower.
at the same time, though, that's kind of why it works, though, right? Is
Yeah.
because the video quantity is less, but the quality is much higher.
Yes.
So you can go to that extreme where you're uploading less and you're putting more work in each video, or you just spam content every single day. Like, I wouldn't go crazy. Like, don't go vapor self level where you're putting out 3 videos a day. To me, that's
Yeah, dude,
insane.
he freaking grinds it.
There needs to be a balance between like how frequently you're uploading and at least having some value in each video.
Yeah.
But I think when you're starting out, do more because you'll learn basically everything that you're doing wrong really fast. And then once you get to a certain level, at that point, if you want to put more effort into editing, then you can slow down, do less uploads, put more work into that. And I think you'll grow either way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good. Do you think Pokemon will push for actual Pokemon Center stores here in the USA like Japan, since they are buying more of the supply chain? Would that limit production to the LGS going forward? What's also your thoughts on this whole them buying the Excel brands or whatever?
I don't really have any strong thoughts. I like
A lot of people think like this is going to be like the end of MJ Holdings because Pokemon's going to take it all over. But my whole thing is it's like this Excel was operating at the same time as MJ Holdings. Why would that have anything to do with each other? I don't know.
yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if not much changes. It's kind of like you were talking about this with Eli, I think, back when they bought, what was it, like a
Millennium
couple years
Print Group.
ago? Millennium.
Yeah,
Exactly. Like,
nothing changed.
everyone freaked out, but in the end, it's business as usual. So I would assume that's what's going to happen. But again, I don't know much about this. I'll say too, I really liked Eli's take on, if we want to get the market back in order, send more supply to LGSs instead of like big box stores, because then they'll set a market price, scalpers will leave, and then the market price will come down as demand kind of levels out. I like that take. So I have no clue what's going to happen, but I would imagine them buying this isn't going to change much.
Yeah, that's how I feel. As far as like what they're going to do with Pokemon centers, Kyle, I have no clue. I don't have any insider info. Like, I mean, I have 2 distributors now, but again, I don't have any insider info that maybe Anon does or some other people out there that may have like higher ups or more people with more information. And so I don't know anything other than basically what's usually public knowledge.
I like the idea of it, though.
Dude, I think that should like give people a sense of like confidence. Like, guys, me and Pokey Profit, like we're basically operating the same as you guys. I mean, just because we decided to pick up a camera and talking to it and grew a channel, we did all this with no like special, knowledge or no like insider info. It's just like anyone can do this.
Mm-hmm.
I just really believe that to this day.
Just time. People are too impatient, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like I said, just one more point on that. Sorry to cut you off. Like at the start of this, I said Rudy video. That's what got me into Pokemon. He said, if you make 20% a year, that's a good year in Pokemon. Like this was back in the day, right? I still hold true to that. Like if I make 20% a year, 30% a year, amazing. Like that's better than, my VFV. So it's one of these things where everyone's kind of just lost the plot, I'd say a little bit in terms of what to expect from their investment. So when that time comes again and things start to drop off and people can't get rich overnight, that'll be the opportunity to start buying again. Right. So
someone asked me before, like, what's the difference and what makes you different from a scalper? And I gave him a really thought out response. I was in that mood. I'm like, and so I gave him and here's my response. I said, well, and I'm not even against scalpers, guys. I don't care. Do your thing. But I said, well, a scalper is typically somebody who buys something and has a how do I put it? I said they have a kind of like an in to get product that other people don't have access to, and they want to be able to sell it for an immediate profit, right? Whereas an investor, yeah, we try to buy under market. Maybe we can eke out a profit if we sell immediately, but that's not our goal. Our goal is to buy an item, let it grow over years because we see value in the future in it, We're not looking to make a profit on it right now, and we stick it away and hold it for years. That could be under market. That could be at full market. That could be any step of the way, but it's not reliant on flipping and making money on it right now. And I think that's the biggest difference is like you just said, like 20, 30% a year. Like, so we see a product is like, oh, in 5 years, this could be 100%. Whereas like, I think a lot of people in the market right now are like, well, I need to make 100% like tomorrow, like next month. How do I do that? It's like, I don't know how to do that. I know how to invest.
Yep.
So I think that's the difference is like the time frames.
I remember buying all of my Sword and Shield. This was November, December 2023. I bought most of my stuff on the Pokemon Center because at the time in Canada, it was basically like same price you could buy from the Pokemon Center and LGS. And I made shorts last year showing off a lot of my Sword and Shield stuff. Like one of my shorts has like 100K views now. And there are comments on it like, you're the reason I can't find Pokemon at MSRP. And it's like, well, first of all, Sword and Shield's out of print. You're not going to find that at Walmart anyways. But at the same time, I was buying this at market price, maybe even a couple dollars above market. And it was a product that sat on the Pokemon Center for 2 years, 3 years, right? So people are always going to complain. To me, the scalper argument too, like you're selling for a profit. So I think there's an argument to be said that pretty much every investor or every scalper is technically an investor and not every investor is a scalper. So like, depending on the definition you use, it's kind of a nothing burger to me. It's just people applying their emotions to a word. But yeah, like we were buying our stuff when no one wanted it. I think that's kind of the point to get across.
Yeah, the thing about like I can't find it anywhere, dude. It's so funny. Those comments sometimes I'll literally go to TCG Player or eBay and I'll just copy a link and I'll post that in the comment. I'll reply with a link. I can't find this product anywhere. All right, link to Prismatic Bundles, TCG Player. Here you go. Yeah. It's so funny. It's like, dude, you could find anything. You just don't want to find it at that price. And it's like, for the record, especially in this market, you think me and Profit like find everything at MSRP, like everything at distro price? Like, dude, I bought plenty of things off the open market. Last year, I made videos. I made one on my Patreon, and I released, talk about it a little more later on the main channel. And I was talking about a bunch of singles and slabs and things that there's no distributor for that. There's no MSRP. There's only the open market. And I went on literally eBay. I didn't make a post and like do any private deals. I just went on eBay. I went down the list and I bought the cheapest ones and the slabs I believed in. And then lo and behold, 6 months later, they're up in value. And it's just like, anyone could do that. Anyone can click eBay or TCG Player, whatever you have, and buy the card and just hold it. Like, it's not rocket science. It doesn't take insider info. It takes what? It takes taking a risk. That's all it is.
Yeah. And it's not even just singles and slabs. Anyone could have bought prismatic ETBs for $90 on TCG Player last year, $95.
Well, that was
now they're $180.
That was the hyper shill price.
Yeah, hyper shill price.
Yeah, I remember that.
Can't buy them above 40 or evil. So,
which, by the way, I did pay I paid that for prismatic. I mean, I got many collection buyouts where I paid $100, $110 for prismatic ETBs. Now, it was under market at the time when I was buying them, but I had no problem buying ETBs for $100, $110. I know where they're going.
Yep.
Hey, Ray, appreciate you, dude. Shout out to Alex, but love that you have Profit on. Been watching this dude for a while. There you go, man.
Appreciate that.
What do we got going on?
Did we take that other super chat before that one too? Alex, when are we getting the Deoxys reprint?
There's no where? Hold on.
I can see it on my end. 11:51 a.m.
Oh wow, we did miss that one. Heart Cold Soul Silver. What's up, man? I'm sorry, dude. Alex, when are we getting the Deoxys reprint? I'm still waiting. You guys are the reals. Keep it killing it. First of all, thanks for the super chat, dude. Sorry I missed you. The Deoxys reprint. Okay, give me your thoughts on the constant, reprints and restock news all the time. Like, what are your thoughts about all the reprint stuff? Does it affect anything you're doing?
No, not really. And reprints in general, it's the same thing with like the new print facility and the conversation about them printing an infinite amount more than they're currently printing. Like, if I like a set and the price comes down, I'll probably just buy more. And really that's how I'm moving forward with any good set, whether it's Destined, Ascended. Like, Ascended, I wanted more cases of ETBs, so I've already purchased 2 cases. Any restock, price comes down, I'll buy more. I don't care at this point. Like, fuck it. If I have to get up to 1,000 ETBs, I'll do it. So
Yeah.
that's how I'm approaching things. I don't really care. And I know you talk about like a lot of these groups claiming there's going to be reprints of stuff. That actually bugs me now. I'm at the point where like if there is no genuine source for things, that really frustrates me. But the worry about reprints, no.
Well, here's the other thing too. It's just like, guys, 95 to 99% of every set in Sword and Shield, Sun and Moon, and XY, they all got reprints. Every single one of them got reprints, all of them, except maybe like a few here or there. Like, Rebel Class, Sword and Shield base didn't get booster box reprints. Dragon Majesty didn't get reprints. Like here or there, right? Everything got reprints. Everything rose in price. This idea that like, and also very few times in history, I remember Primal Clash and Roaring Skies. And I remember, obviously, everyone talks about the Chilling Reign, Battle Styles, Fusion, all that. Other than those specific times, we didn't have this Armageddon market crash, everything goes to $80. And so this idea that every time there's a reprint, it means market crash, it means Armageddon, it means sell everything. That hasn't been the case. There's been things reprinted in the last few years and no one even remembers. I remember the Paldea Evolved Obsidian Flames reprints. Nothing happened. The boxes dropped 10% and then skyrocketed up higher than they were a couple months later. Prismatic, guys, Crown Zenith and Evolutions. Those are the only sets that I can even put up with Prismatic Evolutions for the amount of printing that we have seen. That set has been printed into the ground. Pokemon put out a statement saying they were going to print to max capacity. I think they've done it. They've done nothing but print Prismatic into the ground. They've printed every product under the sun, bundles everywhere, ETBs everywhere. It's still going up. I mean, we had that big drop of Destin Rivals booster boxes on Pokemon Center. We had Prismatic ETB reprints. It seems like there's tons of reprints, but everyone forgets and kind of like writes it off as, oh, they didn't print that much of them though. And it's like, hold on a second. Look at the 151 population reports. They dwarf Sword and Shield era. So you can't have both be true. You can't say, well, they didn't print a lot of 151. Then how are the population of the cards 30,000 tens? How are they 100, whatever they are? It's just like, so they are printing more than ever. They are printing tons of 151 and Prismatic, but the prices are still rising because the demand is that high. Everybody wants to downplay the amount of demand in this hobby. And the fact of the matter is that's what's happening. It's reprints are no longer, Armageddon. It's going, it's dropping, 50%. It's, there's going to be a stagnation, maybe some drops, maybe some people want to take profits, maybe it drops 10, 20%, but people need to get out of their minds that reprint means Armageddon crash.
The other thing too, that I'll say on that, if reprints come and prices come down, and Pokemon's a lot smarter than you and I and everyone watching. They know their business model better than everyone. So if they're planning to print more cards, they obviously see that demand is going to grow or anticipating that it will. The other thing too, if reprints come and prices crash, how much product do you think is being opened? Because I can tell you, when Prismatic ETBs were getting restocked last summer, they were down to around $90. We had all those Sam's Club bundles coming to market. There were over, and I'm not kidding, over 100 ETBs buy it now selling on eBay every single day. Just buy it now on eBay at that price. Like there were weeks where that was happening consistently.
Well, remember, that's just investors selling to investors, though.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like everyone's just hoarding this stuff. None of it's being open. Like imagine if those were $40, right? Like if we had some of these people's dreams come true, everything goes to MSRP, they'd be gone within a month or two. How many people would spend, $100 and get 2 or 3 ETBs? A lot of people. Yep. So even if that happens, it's going to go fast in this market.
Yeah. And so I just, guys, I mean, look, reprints and restocks are a part of the hobby. Take advantage. It's like anything with the stock market. When a stock that you believe in, a good company has a pretty decent size drop, 10, 20, 30%, you usually want to average in if you still believe in the company. Same thing with a set. If you still believe in the set, you don't freak out, because your time frame was always 3-5+ years. So if a reprint comes, that just means you get to get more at a cheaper price, dollar cost average in for that 3 to 5 year period. I don't know. I just don't see it as that. It's funny. You look at like the crypto community, Bitcoin drops to 70, 60s, whatever. Tons of people are saying to buy it. Now it's time to get in. Pokemon drops. Oh, I don't want to touch it now. Why do other investing communities get this? We don't.
I don't know, man. I feel like that's going to change though. I think part of it too, like all seriousness, jokes aside, I think part of that too is there are so many people that ended up in this space just because they like to collect Pokemon.
True.
And they're not really like strong investors.
True.
A lot of paper hands. But I think over time that's going to change.
Yeah, no, you're right. Big super chat. Elad 8391. That's huge, man. Thank you so much. I've been following you both forever. Forever. Quite one time now. Very insightful content. Keep up the great work. Dude, that's all you wanted to say? Give us a question. Give us something, man. Got to give you something for that super chat, brother. Thank you.
Now, is it Elad or is it Dale? Backwards. That's the real question.
It could be. It could be. I like that.
Thank you for the super chat, man. That's huge. $50. I'm looking at the chat waiting for a question. It's not
What can make demand go down? I mean, demand for a high value set. It's very difficult to happen. I don't know. See, I mean, if demand's dropping in the hobby and the reprints hit at the same time, which is kind of what happened in 2022, I think that's when you see those like kind of pretty decent sized corrections. But you know, I look back at like sets that were like in Sun and Moon and XY, and what happened when like, you know, the Vivid Voltage, Battle Styles, Chilling Reign stuff was going on. They weren't crashing. Like everything was seeing like a 10-20% haircut. The big downturns like Evolution saw like 30, but that ran up from 100 to 1,000, so it made sense. Like I think it pretty much just affects the sets that are affected. I don't think it causes widespread like destruction.
Yeah, I agree. I think like there would have to be something in the macro in terms of like TCGs and collectability maybe not being as cool, right? Yeah. And that'll probably eventually come in waves. So there will be a time where we're not going to see what's his name, Timothy Chalamet playing Yu-Gi-Oh, or all these pro athletes collecting TCG cards. Like it'll happen eventually. So I think that would be probably like the big thing.
Oh, this is a great question. Timmy McGee, what is a mainstream opinion in Pokemon investing you strongly disagree with? Is there anything you two strongly disagree on? That's a great one.
Only in Pokemon investing?
Yeah.
I'll think. I mean, I talked about the 151, and again, like I'm not fully on board with that take, but I think even some of these really strong sets, right? There gets to a certain level where it's probably better to move your funds into newer, cheaper stuff. Like I wouldn't be shocked if over the next 3 years, in terms of like CAGR, Black Bolt ETBs outperform. I mean, definitely 151 ETBs. I don't think that's too hot of an opinion, but maybe even like Blooming Waters or booster bundles, even though 151's a much more popular set.
Yeah. So basically you're like strongly disagree opinion is that there can be some lesser popular sets outperform popular sets because of the price point.
Yeah, I think everything just gets to a level. And again, like someone left a comment on my video, I think yesterday or the day before, saying this was a recency bias. I think there was a point like back in 2021, 2022, when you looked at X, Y, and Sun and Moon, sure, they were still going up, but they weren't going up at the rate of the newer stuff was that you could buy at $80, $90. And I did a video looking at the CAGR of basically all my investments. This was maybe a month ago at this point. When I bought my first Evolving Skies box, I think it was like $900 Canadian or something. So like 700 US, whatever. The return on that versus the box I bought a year later at 1,300, or no, it was like 2,000, 1,800, whatever. It was basically double. So even these really strong sets, they get to a level. And by the way, that was only like a year ago. Yeah. So buying Evolving at 2K a year ago, there were an infinite amount of places that were better to put your money than that. So I think there is going to be a point where even the really strong sets they're just not worth investing in.
And then I'll kind of like go on that same lines, except like the not like the opposite of it, but I would say what I disagree with is a lot of people in the space they're so focused on finding the absolute lowest dollar price point, the exact right timing, where it's like kind of like the plays like me and you both made on Prismatic. It doesn't matter if it's the lowest price anyone's ever seen. It doesn't matter if it's MSRP. It doesn't matter if you feel it's too soon to be as expensive as it is. I think you make those plays when you see the opportunities, and you just, make your brain understand that you're going to have them for long term. I mean, I think Ascended Heroes is probably going to get to that point here soon. If you're wanting Ascended Heroes to get to MSRP, you're maybe never going to see it. If you want it to get to even $70, you might never see it. If that ETB gets in between $80 to $100, I think it's a pickup. And I don't think you need to wait 2 years when it's about to go out of print. I don't think you need to, worry about if you get the exact right price or someone else got a cheaper price than you. I think these really good sets that are going to perform well long term, I think you need to be a little less price sensitive and be a little more quicker to pick them up in this market, because people are getting a lot better at identifying strong sets early. In the past, it almost became a little like people really didn't know. Like, it's why Fusion Strike, outperformed Brilliant Stars and Lost Origin, right? It's like people were unsure. I feel like people are a lot more sure these days, and the top sets are staying on top longer. And so when you see these like home runs that everyone knows, or everyone's agreeing they're home runs, the only thing people disagree on is the timing and the price point. I think you just pull the trigger on those early and stop worrying about, the exact right price or timing.
I agree. Yeah, that's something I actually have changed my mind on very recently. I think Rudy in a video said, if you really like a set, be prepared to pay a little bit more. Like if you want to buy in at 200, maybe you should be okay buying at 250, right? So yeah. Destined Rivals, I think about that. I have one box of Destined. Yeah. I probably should have just been buying at 250, 200, whatever it was. Of course we should, because we're probably never going to see that again on Destined.
No, I truly don't think we're going to. I know Dan Ketchum Collectibles has a bet going with retrospects, but I think I'm going to start. I think I'm going to place a what do they call it? I'm going to place a bet on the bet, right? I'm going to have like one of those going on there. I think I'm going to bet on retro on that one. I don't know if it's going to MSRP, Dan. Sorry, man. I don't want to be against you, but I got to be honest. I'm not seeing MSRP in the future. BlackRock 18, what is up? Thank you for the super chat. My two favorite PokeTubers. How about that? What percentage of your portfolio should be out of print, counting the April block? I'll be around 70%. Well, if you're a psychopath like me, you would probably have like 90% of your portfolio stuff in print. If you're smart, you probably do something closer to what you're doing. I haven't got asked this before. I get asked a lot about like slabs or like more volatile stuff. And I always say like maybe 20, 30% in like more volatile plays and keep like 70% in like safer stuff. As far as like in print, out of print. In the old market 2-3 years ago, I like your way. In this market, because of just how much they have to print and how much it hasn't been and how they're not showing they're printing a lot of booster boxes, I don't mind being in a lot of stuff that's in print, especially first block of SV, second block of SV. I don't mind it as much. But yeah, it's definitely more of a risk. I don't know. What's your percentage? What would you say?
Well, I still think it's probably like 60% Sword and Shields. I haven't run those numbers in a while. I'm just guessing, but a lot of it's, I think about my Brilliant Fusion Lost. I still have a ton of that. So it's fairly high, but I agree with you. Like the conversation needs to be had about being in newer stuff that's cheaper in print if you believe in it. My reasoning as to why I don't have a ton of like block 2 SV era is I'm really not that bullish on Temporal, Stellar. Surging I like. Twilight is fine, I guess. I think I'd rather have Surging. So I think Surging I actually have the most booster boxes out of any SV set. But the specialty sets,
in my opinion, it's the most undervalued box in the market right now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, Obsidian's what, 340 now, 350?
Well, you're gonna tell me that Twilight, Stellar, and Temporal are in the same block. They go out of print the same time, and Surging's the cheapest box.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't make a ton of sense. And supply's coming down on Surging. Like maybe a couple months ago, I think there was a time where maybe there were like 700 boxes below like 240 on eBay. That number's down to like 300, I think. So they're going fairly quickly.
Yeah, I've looked at that in a video and I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense. Because then you look at the top hits in temporal, like the Raging Bolt Ghastly, no value. You look at Stellar, you know, you got the Squirtle, Bulbasaur, like the Dash Bun at this point, Terapagos, very little value, nothing over $100. And then Twilight, it's up there. Don't get me wrong, but like it's got Greninja, and then it's got like, you know, Eevee, Perrin, Carmine. Basically, like the top 5 hits of Twilight get wrecked by the top 5 hits of Surging. The only thing better is the Greninja is a little more valuable than the Pikachu. But I'm just like, does that warrant $100 more per box? It doesn't make really a lot of sense.
I was going to ask you too, because I'm curious about this. And I know you have like all your numbers for your rip and ship. Have you looked at like the most popular sets being opened?
Yeah.
And then looked at like the top 10 value of each of those sets? And is there kind of like an order to it? Or are there outliers? My guess would be like 151's probably an outlier. Maybe Crown Zenith
is not even the most popular anymore. Taking Ascended Heroes out of it because it's brand new, so that doesn't count, I would say. It's Prismatic, it's Destined Rivals. It was Paldean Fates. Paldean's been slowing now that it's getting more expensive, but it was Paldean Fates, and then Phantasmal Flames. Like those have been really, really, really getting opened. Crown Zenith and 151 will have their spurts. But yeah, I mean, Destined Rivals and Prismatic are 2 very, very easy outliers. Like they're exponentially more than all the other sets.
When you look at value too, like Prismatic's more than Destined, which is more than Paldean Fates. I think Phantasmal currently, because the Charizards are going crazy, might be higher than Paldean Fates. But to me, like, I think if you looked at, and this would be my guess, maybe I'm wrong about this. I think if you looked at most rip and ship streams, looked at their numbers, there would be quite a strong correlation between sets having a ton of value and being open the most. And I don't think that's a super hot take, but
yeah,
that's why I look at, and I love Temporal, by the way. Like I love the Raging Bolt. I think it's a great illustration. I love the Walking Wake, and what's the other one?
Dude, the Raging Bolt is one of my favorite cards in the era.
Yeah, it's great. And I love it.
It's so unpopular, but it's like I love it.
Yep, same way. So, you know, sometimes the market just doesn't agree, and they want to open things that are expensive.
So the top value. Well, here's the problem, right? I'm sure Black and White are up there with some of the top values if you take like set because of all the illustrations. But it's either top value or it's top hits. I feel like the sets of the big giant hits, people want to chase those. And Black and White has that too. They got Victini Reshiram and Victini Zekrom. Obviously Bubble Mew and Charizard, Paldean Fates. You got Prismatic, which is stacked, Destined Rivals, and then yeah, I mean Twilight and Surging have those hits. But yeah, like Obsidian doesn't have a lot, you know, Paradox not a lot, Stellar not a lot, SV base not a lot, and subsequently none of those are open that much anymore.
Where does Black Bolt and White Flare rank for you?
Pretty popular. And their price point is right in the middle of Destin and Prismatic, so they're right in that like kind of like a strong zone.
They're more expensive than Destin?
More than Destin, less than Prismatic.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think it's because they're just more scarce.
Yeah.
They're open pretty good. They're right up. They're not quite as much as like Prismatic and Destin, but yeah, they're up there in like that second tier.
It makes sense to me.
Yeah, they're open more than any like other regular set, other than like yeah, I would say they're open more than any other regular set than like Destin, Mega, and Phantasmal because they're new. But yeah, they're open right up there with the top. I would say they're in the top like 5 to 7 sets.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense.
They're getting ripped, man. Your prediction's looking good right now. Ethan, what's up, dude? Celestial TCG, $10 super chat, 2 whales in 1 live. Sheesh, guppy gang. 2 guppies, man. We're just guppies. I've talked to the whales. I'm not one of them. I'm trying.
Yeah. Same for me. I don't know if do you have like a long-term goal in investing like a dollar amount? I know you've said like you're one of those people where you don't want to work one day, right? Like you want to get to a point where you can just chill. I'm the same way. Like if I can, and you know, my wife's Colombian, like we could live in Colombia off like $20K a year if we owned a home, and it'd be difficult to spend $20K. Like that'd be going out to eat every day.
Have you
going to? Yeah, I've gone multiple times.
What's it like there?
So it depends on where you are. I've spent most of my time in Bogota because their family's from there. I like the weather. It's somewhere between like 18 and 22 Celsius year round, which for me is perfect. I don't like when it's too hot. Um, it's super walkable too where I stay. Like there's a huge mall a couple blocks away, all the restaurants you want, gyms everywhere.
Feel
Food's
safe.
amazing. The only thing is safety. That's the only thing. So like if you're walking the street, you have your phone out, that's going to increase your chances of getting robbed by probably 10x, 20x. So
Wow.
you got to be smart, you got to move well, but that's like the only thing that stops me from living there full time and raising kids there. That's like my one
Yeah.
concern. If we have kids, I don't know if I could be a parent there, but retiring there for sure, I could do it. 100%.
It is funny you bring this up because like I've even like looked into other countries like Thailand. I've looked into Philippines, like because of the cost of living and because like yes, I am very much I want to retire very early, very young, and be able
Mhm.
to enjoy life. You know, me and my wife, we don't have a lot of like we don't have any vices, like we don't drink, smoke, party. And we both are kind of on the same page. We don't really care about like all the, flashy stuff. We really care about just having our time and our freedom. And so the exact number, I don't know. I think I'll know when we get there. It's definitely not some crazy number. I see Wish Nikki saying 10 million. I'll probably never be worth 10 million because I'll
Mhm.
probably quit before then. So, as long as, I have enough to where we can like, not have to worry about day-to-day bills, like whatever regular living expenses, groceries, all that stuff. Um, and still have a padding and everywhere you can use the 4% rule and accounts or whatever. But I don't know, it just depends on, how inflation happens and stuff. I would say somewhere in that 1.5 to 2.5 million would probably be pretty decent, I think.
I think that's kind of my number too. If
Yeah.
I'm now if I stay in Canada, it's going to be probably double that because living here is very expensive. But
Now, is that Canadian dollars though?
honestly, it doesn't matter. Two
Doesn't matter.
mil Canadian USD, like I think I could make it work. 2 mil
Yeah.
Canadian would be like 1.4, 1.5 probably
Yeah. Yeah.
USD. More than
And
enough.
again, I've had this, me and my buddy, I had this conversation. It's just like, everyone's going to have a different number because you could say that some people just have very different plans for like their life. Like people are like, well,
Mhm.
I couldn't travel every month around the world with that. It's like, no, maybe you couldn't, well, I
Yep.
can't have my, my beach house with that. Maybe you couldn't like, but like, I mean, I just look at like, other family members, like grandparents or like, older like aunts or uncles. And like, dude, I see people living very well with a lot less and
Mhm.
completely happy, completely content, living how they want to live. I think it's fun to dream and have these like visions of like, living like this rock star. But I think at the end of the day, like having, just a nice, comfortable life can be really fulfilling, especially when you're not having to work to support it.
Yeah, maybe this is getting too philosophical too, but the older I get, and I look at people that are getting older as well, and they actually don't have families. They don't have a partner, they don't have like genuine friends and stuff.
Yeah.
You can only try and replace that with, you know, cars and homes and trips, cats, dogs. Like it only goes so far, right? And then I think you get to a point where your perception of life and your inevitable death is going to be kind of just overtaken by what you have in front of you. So as long as you have family around you, I think that's kind of like the most important thing you can do in life. And really, like everything else is kind of just secondary.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I think we're on the same page. Like, and here's the thing: it's just like I get anyone being on a different page. Like other people, like
Hmm.
I mean, I think Elon Musk said in an interview like that his nightmare would be like laying on the beach every day or something. Like,
Yeah.
and there's
Yeah.
people like that we know in this hobby that they just I know. I think I've talked to Dan about it. I've talked to like Brian Pokiani about it. Like, there's people that just they just love running businesses. They
Hmm.
they they always want to be doing something, always working. Eli's that way. Pokemart USA, he loves it. Like, some people like that's just what they get their fulfillment out of is building businesses and growing and like having something to compete with in business. And like that's what keeps them going. Like, and that's what they truly like enjoy. And so, like, I think if you find something you enjoy, it's great. It's just like you know, and it may change like when, you know, you have the means and you don't have to do something and start enjoying it more. But I think, I just think, you know, I really enjoy like more of the simple things that maybe other people would seem as like boring, I
Yeah.
guess, you know.
Do you think part of it too is kind of just like having the option to work if you want to work, but not having
Yeah,
to?
for sure.
Yeah. Like for me, that's what it is. It's not like I'd probably blow my brains out if I had to sit on a beach every single day. Like that would be painful at a
Because
certain
you
point
have
for
to do
me.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
anything you
But
have to do, I think feels that
yeah.
way.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, it's like if you have to like go do like a project, like, oh, I have to go you know, stain my deck. You know, it's just like, well, if you don't have anything else to do, and you're just like, yeah, I want to do that. You know, it's almost
Hmm.
like it feels nice to get out there and do a little work and like go do something for that day. But if like you're working a full-time job and you have other things to do, and it's like you got to try to fit it in on some weekend, it's a chore. It sucks. Like, oh
Yeah.
my God, I gotta get this done. And I think it's how anything is. Like whenever your life is so busy, everything feels like a chore. Whenever you have nothing going on, everything feels like an opportunity. I get to do something today. I think that's the
Hmm.
difference. I really
100%.
feel like that's the difference. Let's see. It won't let me super chat. That's okay, man. You don't got super chat, Roy. My two faves. Should I hold my top 10 PSA 10s? 151 Mew promo,
Mhm.
whatever that is. What Mew promo?
U
Oh, the
UPC?
151 Mew promo.
Mhm.
I was thinking, okay. Jap Japumbi.
Jap Umbi, so maybe like the Japanese Umbreon, like
Okay.
Moonbreon?
The Japanese Beehole Pikachu,
Oh, that's a
Champions
good one.
Path Charizard, or sell and reinvest in Evo Skies or Brilliant. Okay.
Mm.
I actually like the 151 promos, the Mew and the Mewtwo. Those are actually some cards that I bought a little while back in tens, and I'm holding as like a speculation play. I like those. Uh Maybe Pokey Profit has some better info for you on the Japanese. I don't even like pay attention to the Japanese market, so I couldn't even give you advice. I'm not going to pretend to. I'm not going to pretend to know something I don't know anything about. So don't know on the Japanese cards. The Champions Path Charizard, that's one I may say put into something else. I don't know if that's got the legs in it like some of the other cards do. But definitely on the Mew promo.
I like the Mew promo too. I'm not a huge singles and slabs guy, but that card got hit pretty hard, right? During the
Yes,
correction. So
yes.
I think it's a decent one to hold, at least in the short term, see what happens. Champion Zard, I would agree, probably a move. But again, I'm not a huge slab guy. I thought Japanese stuff was doing quite well. Like I don't pay attention to it either, but from what I've heard from other people, Japanese is hot, so might be a decent time to move those. I I'm kind of like Dan, where I'm really long sealed product, short slabs. Like to me, it's something where if you can make money and get out, that's what I do if I ever invest in slabs. But um, yeah, yeah, Mew
Every
promo.
slab, every slab I ever have is usually, if you talk to me 2 years from now, I won't have it. Like I'm the same way. I make speculations on slabs. I don't hold them very long. Like right now, I like the early Scarlet Violet era slabs.
Hmm.
I mean, I have positions I've acquired in Tyrannitars from Paldea Evolved in tens. I've got Groudons from Paradox Rift. I've got the
Paradox.
151 promos. Um, what else? Oh, I have a Bubble Mew. I've got some 151 Charizards, like just stuff like that I'm trying to take advantage of the out of print play. And I just
Hmm.
feel like later this year, a lot of those are going to see some jumps because they're going to, when the out of print happens, people are going to want it more. And so, like, that's kind of a play I'm making. I could be wrong on them, but those are the kind of plays I look for. I made it like a play with alt arts a while back. Anything time I see like the market seems undervalued or there's like a catalyst I think could do something, I'll make plays. But as far as like long term, I just love sealed, dude. I just think the attrition from the market and how there's always less is more attractive.
Yeah. I think getting into those cards too right now was probably a really good call, just because they all got hit very, very hard. Like multiple months in a row losing value. So great time to be buying those.
Thoughts on picking up 151 Japanese boxes?
I'm not a fan.
Tell you what. Tell you what. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna help you out, Aaron. I'm gonna help you out so much right now. You do not know how lucky you are that you asked that question. Hold on. Where is it? All right, I'm going to share you a link. Okay. And this is where you can pick up 151. Let me share this. Share my screen here. So I actually have this for sale through Probstein auctions right now. You can actually go bid on this case. This is my case of 151, and you can buy this. You should go to Probstein. Here's the link. We're going to share the link in chat as we speak, okay? Aaron, this is the one you should buy. There's the link. You're welcome. Yeah, I'm just, the only reason I even have those Japanese boxes is I bought out a card shop when they went out of business. They had like $40,000 of inventory, and I had to take it all. And so I ended up with Japanese boxes. I don't really invest in Japanese. And they just kind of got put on a shelf, and I've been kind of just like combing through some stuff, recently, and trying to just like, kind of get rid of some loose end type stuff. And I still had a couple of those cases. So I've been selling the Japanese cases. So I don't necessarily believe in buying Japanese 151 boxes. But if you're into Japanese, you think they're going to do well, it's great. I'm not a Japanese investor.
I think this is a great example too, because 151 Japanese is probably one of the more popular sets, I'd say. Maybe that's not the best take, but I feel like it's probably up there. There was a time where everyone was super hype on 151 Japanese and they were pumping it. I think if you look at how well that box has done over the past year or two and compare that to almost anything in English, maybe even Shrouded Fable and like Pokemon Go and some of these really bad sets, they've probably done better.
Oh, I think Pokemon Go has. Pokemon Go has been on some weird tear. I don't know why.
There's just not a ton of it out there, man. There's not.
It's crazy to say that. But no, I mean, yeah, Japanese, look, 151's iconic. I don't know if it matters the language. I think you'll be fine. Like, again, like the conversation can be had on every single product. We can have this conversation on Prismatic right now. Like, there could always be something better. If you believe in it and think it's gonna be worth more in the future, that's all we're doing here. I mean, at any stage of time, you can say one thing was better than another. It's like you take Prismatic from now till next year, however it does, I'm sure there's some other product, maybe another TCG that outperformed it. You could say, well, you should have been in this other than that. And so I wouldn't be too caught up on that. If you believe in 151 and Japanese one, I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's 151 is probably going to do well.
Yeah. Main takeaway, just put your money to work.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Not
a question, but keep up the good work, guys. Took your advice last year and bought 2 cases of Prismatic at 108 per ETB. Not sealed, 10 fresh boxes, though. Doesn't even matter. Honestly, the single ETBs seem to be closing the gap on the sealed cases.
They are, which is interesting.
The worst investment I've made in the past 6 years is Japanese 151. Oh, no. That can't be real. That can't be real, Wish Nikki. Come on, dude. Still need a signed Pokemon Go ETB. Yeah, right. Best investment ever. Oh, man. Anyways, dude, I'm not going to keep you all afternoon. Any other thing you wanted to hit on before we called it?
No, not really. I mean, thanks for having me. It was fun. I think anyone watching the stream, the big takeaway is just invest in Pokemon because it's Pokemon, and that's the only reasoning you need.
Dang it, what the heck happened? All right, guys, hold on real quick. I want to, by the way, Pokey's Profits link should be in the top of the chat, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it in the chat right now. So that way you guys can go sub. So there, I just left a link to his channel, guys. Make sure to go sub to him. He's got a lot of great market content. He's also got a One Piece channel for those of you that are interested in One Piece. That one is.
Sorry to cut you off, Alec. We have one more super chat. You should take this before we get out of here too.
Oh, did I miss
from
one?
Impulsive. Yeah. 253, I think. 12. Yeah, there you go.
Impulsive TCG. This is Logan Paul's TCG company.
Yep.
Just kidding. Don't sue me. 2 YouTubers who got me into making content. Talk to Grayson a bit about it, but how do you feel about Riftbound as an early bet? What'd you tell him?
I'm not invested in Riftbound yet, but it's promising.
Yeah.
And I'll say why it's promising to me. The universe that they could pull from is a lot larger than I thought it was to begin with as just League. So I think Riot getting into this space as well, they generally have a game plan of what they want to do. So there's a way for them to build it out and make it something that lasts more than like a few years. That's why I'm bullish on it. But as of now, the collectability side of things, I'm not fully convinced about, and that's why I've held off. But if that changes in the future, I already have a fairly high level of confidence the game is going to last.
But you're not investing in yourself.
I have one box of Origins. That's it.
Yeah. My only problem is so when I invested in One Piece in the very beginning, like you said, it was so attractive at like $120 a box.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how attractive Riftbound is when, especially the first set is like more expensive or as expensive than most Pokemon boxes. And the other set, what's like $183. It's like, yeah, I mean, if you really believe in it and think it's going to do well, it's just, I'm at the point now where like, I feel like I'm established. So everyone's opportunities are going to be different based on where they're at and how much risk they need to take on to get to where they want to be. Where I'm at, it's like, I'm taking on less risk than I used to. I'm trying to invest in things that I feel are going to be like more of a guarantee. Nothing's guaranteed, but in my opinion, more of a guarantee, but may just take a little longer and may see like a little bit less gains, but are going to, should continue to perform over time. And as long as I can keep doing that, I should be able to stay on the same kind of track that I want to be on for the time frame I need to be on it. Whereas if you're looking to take on more risk to try to get ahead quicker, I get it. Yeah, investing in some of these newer TCGs, could these boxes outperform Pokemon boxes that are the same price right now? Well, no box is $180, but the other one's $300. Absolutely. One Piece just did. Dragon Ball Fusion is doing crazy things. Gundam, the first set of Gundam is killing it. It's like $200 and something. The other ones aren't doing that great, but absolutely it could. It just depends on how risky you want to get. Like all these new TCGs, if the market does cool off, guys, some of these TCGs are going to go by the wayside. And I don't know if it's going to be this or probably Star Wars or Gundam or Lorcana or, whatever, Flesh and Blood or, what's another one? I mean, Sorcery. Like some of these are going to go away, right? It's likely One Piece is here to stay. Obviously, Pokemon Magic. We'll see what Yu-Gi-Oh can do with reviving themselves with these full arts and things. But I mean, other than those four, a lot of the other ones are kind of up for grabs. And so just be careful of going too heavy, like on your bets. And
I agree.
If you do get it right, don't be afraid to take profits. Like Grayson said, like, don't be afraid to take 200, 300% profit. If you hit it right, reduce your risk and just let the rest ride.
100%.
All right, man. That's all I got, dude. Guys, check out Pokey Profit, subscribe. He posts videos like every single day. And, yeah, man, I guess that's all we got. We'll do this again in the future.
Sounds good.
All right. We're calling it, guys. We're out.